with Jon Favreau. Here is Alex on the toll-free in Gardner, Minnesota. Hi, Alex, and welcome to CBS.
Hi.
Hold it. Patch him back in. You there, Alex?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
What's on your mind, Alex?
It's
You see, how this works is you talk to us and we talk back to you.
Well, okay. It's actually Gardner, Maine.
You're in Maine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Gardner, Maine. I'm sorry. Now, Alex, do me a favor. Go over to your television set and turn down the sound, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. We're on the delay, so he's hearing it later, and it's coming back, and he's getting confused.
He's talking to Letterman now.
All right, Alex, go ahead, sir.
Okay. I heard that John was in Second City. Did he know Chris Farley?
Yeah, I did know Chris Farley. I was fortunate enough to have seen him in, I think, his best years, which were on the stage. Unfortunately, I think...
And was he at Second City when you were there?
He was there. He had just gotten in because Del Close had hired him. And Del Close is a great improv teacher who taught Belushi, Bill Murray, all these guys. And I had gone to Chicago to study with this guy, and so had Farley. Farley had come from Wisconsin. I'd come from New York. And
Belushi had left by this time.
Belushi was long gone and passed away.
Oh, okay.
And but there was this legacy of Belushi, and every fat guy who went to Chicago wanted to be the next Belushi. And then I saw Farley, and I was like, well, I better find something else to do because this guy, he's too good.
Yeah, you just knew when you saw him, huh?
He had the energy. He had the just that he was so concerned with satisfying an audience, and he would do anything to entertain.
His focus then was on satisfy the audience, entertain the folks in the seats, right?
He would punish his body. He broke a leg one night when I was where I used to wash dishes in the back. So I got to know Tim Meadows, Chris Farley, all these guys, Joel Murray, Mike Myers.
Mike Myers was there?
It was a great, great time. I mean, now you look back, and talking to you, I realize, my God, I got stories now. But at the time, I was just washing dishes there, and you get to see him do his stuff. And on Saturday Night Live, he was great. Not to take anything away from his films, but to see him live and how fast he was. Because he always would conduct himself like he wasn't that smart, but you'd see him on stage, and he was like the quickest wit on the stage. He just didn't give himself, he never gave himself permission to sort of be as talented and as smart as he was. And it's unfortunate what happened, but wonderful, wonderful performer.
Were there comparisons between John Belushi and Chris Farley around Second City?
There was. I think he perpetuated that. I think a lot of people were very obsessed with Belushi because there was just something about him. I can't express it, but that's part of the reason I moved to Chicago. And Del Close would talk about the experiences and how he would be. And also, one thing that was really similar is that they were both wonderful actors and not just funny. They weren't stand-ups. They were people who would commit to a character or a role. And
or a sketch, right?
A sketch.
Well, look at Belushi in Animal House, how good he was.
Yeah. You a big Belushi fan?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Animal House,
Blues Brothers.
him in Neighbors with Dan Aykroyd.
Right, that was a funny picture. And even 1941, which did not do that much box office, Belushi had some brilliant moments in that film.
You can't take your eyes off the guy, and that's how Farley was. You couldn't take your eyes off of him. I don't know how else to explain it.
With most of Second City, people going on, were you ever hoping to go onto Second City and to Saturday Night Live like most of them did?
That's exactly what it was.
Sure, that's the goal, Alex.
You go to Chicago, you hope to get on the stage at Second City, and then you hope that somebody spots you, much like happened with Farley and Belushi, and they bring you there, and then eventually you get a film career. I was very lucky that they never hired me, because that sort of gave me... I've always sort of gotten what I've gotten by being scrappy and working really hard, and when I wasn't given an opportunity to do it there, I got a role in Rudy and moved out here. And then when I couldn't get roles in the movies, I wrote Swingers. And if there's anything I could sort of tell, any advice to give to anybody who's aspiring out there.
Did you say Ruby or Rudy?
Rudy.
Rudy, the kid who went to Notre Dame.
The kid who shot JFK, who shot Oswald.
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse you. Turn the TV down. It'll make sense.
No, Rudy's the kid who went to Notre Dame.
Rudy's the kid who went to Notre Dame. Rudy's the guy who shot Oswald, we think. But I don't want to get into that.
Well, with the conspiracy theory.
I know, and I bet you...
Yeah, but Alex, not tonight, okay? We only have a one-hour show, Alex. And by the way, I thank you for calling. Thanks for watching tonight.
First time I called, I'm going to miss you, Tom.
Okay, thanks, Alex.
Hey,
bye-bye.
That's very true. Thank you so much. I feel very honored to have been on the show once before.
Well, I'm not... I'm not dying.
I know, but it's still, you know, you start to realize that, you know, that I'll be telling stories about the Tom Snyder show sometime down the line and how I got to be on.
Well, speak favorably
I certainly will,
when you tell them. Now, when you're a member of Second City in Chicago, what is life?
I never worked there.
No, I know, but you could tell from Farley and Mike Myers and the others. What are theirs like in Chicago? Are they the toast of the town?
These guys, well, there are a few theaters. There's a Goodman Theater, there's Steppenwolf, and there's Second City. And Chicago takes a lot of pride in its theater. And I spent 4 years there, and I cut my teeth as an actor there, and in improv, and in comedy. If you're affiliated with one of those three theaters, it's like being on Broadway in New York.
Okay.
And that's
there's a respect for it, an admiration for it, right?
People, you know, are happy to see you come.
An embrace that your hometown, right?
Yeah, you know, and then plus, you leave Chicago and you go on to do great things. Even me, who only lived there 4 years, they never forget you. Chicago is very generous, the city with big shoulders. I never met a bitter person there. I never met a person who was, you know, all the stereotypes of all the cities like New York, L.A., Chicago really had a personality where it just wants to have fun and be generous and take pride in what it has.
Now, before you went to Chicago, you had a couple of odd jobs, I read.
In New York, yeah.
We talked about your Wall Street job, but you had some others there, I read.
When I was younger, I cleaned out, I don't think it ever got worse than this, I was cleaning out garage vents. In like Hell's Kitchen, 42nd Street area. Yeah. It's like a summer job I had gotten.
What do you have to do to clean out a garage vent?
Well, I mean,
I lived in New York a long time. I'm having trouble placing what a garage vent is.
A garage vent is like the vent that, in the garage, there's no air, there's no windows.
That I understand.
They have these vents with fans in them.
Oh, okay,
and they're huge fans, and part of my job was to go in and make sure that the belts, it was me and another guy, and you make sure that the belts were okay on it, you make sure they were oiled. And since I was the little guy, I'd be the guy who would crawl into the vents while he held all the tools and stuff. So I'd be like a tunnel rat, like a Vietnam tunnel rat, going in there with like a flashlight and a pistol, looking for a
squeaky belt or a...
Yeah. And that would be, and I'd come out just all covered with soot and stuff.
And then didn't you take a test one time to become a New York City firefighter?
That's right, I did. That was kind of my dream before I decided to be an actor. I really wanted to be a firefighter. See, all these things that I tried to do, I couldn't before this all happened. I tried to be a fireman. I had worked on Wall Street, not very satisfying.
I know, you said that the last time you were here.
And the firefighters, what was so great is I never met one that didn't like their job. No matter what happened to them, if they were in it, anything from a guy who's won a medal to a guy in a wheelchair, they take pride in it. Even if they've gotten hurt, because they feel like they're doing something that's important. And in New York, there's a great firefighting tradition. My uncle's a firefighter. And so it was something I really wanted to do, but there was a physical test you had to take. Remember, I was kind of overweight.
Okay.
And that was the year a kid died taking the physical test. It was a very grueling test. And it was in Columbus Circle. There was this big obstacle course. You had to drag this dummy. You wore this weighted vest.
Oh, you've got to be strong. I mean,
have a lot of stamina. And at the end of the course, there were these huge guys just throwing up from the steps. Yeah, it was bad. And they were mugging people out. That was the thing. That's New York. These guys that were like 6 feet tall, 6 feet tall, go out into Columbus Circle, one of the nicest intersections in the city, and getting mugged. They had fire department guys saying, now listen, we don't want to scare you, but it's been known to happen. People have been mugged outside because they're weak from the test. So that's how they think
the New York mugger. Hey, that guy took the test. He can't fight back. Huh?
That's right. And then they burn his house.
Anyway, I know the picture will do great, and I really thank you for coming in tonight.
Well,
and again, we are always pleased to see you, and I hope you'll come back before all of this winds down, okay?
Well, I'd love to, Tom.
Okay, thanks, John. Jon Favreau is the guest. The picture opens today. It's on this weekend. It's called Deep Impact. And tell is there's something about space and asteroids in this movie.